respected Sister Zimla. Yeah?
Yes.
First, we welcome you to this department. We are very honored to have you with our business. So I will not say much about because time is running through. He will talk about India-Ethiopia relationship in 21st century. I think most of us have some idea about because India and Ethiopia relationship not a new one. It's very old, and among the African countries, India has the deepest, most, tense relationship with Ethiopia. Okay? That is the nature of relationship that we have with Ethiopia. From very ancient time, India and Ethiopia has been connecting through the business, through the teachers, education department, so many other ways. I hope Excellency will touch when he will notice. Just, before that we go for that, we just have a small token of gift to you as an expression of joy when you're coming here. So may I request Dr. Rasmi to just. Department journal. This is the oldest journal in India in daily newspaper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been more than 50 years, I believe.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Other department closed down, but we never closed down.
If you long you can speak.
Okay, thank you. And second, we have Sister Zemlag also who came along with our agency. So just like you.
Yes.
Please, can we have a photograph, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so we are live also.
Yeah.
We are live.
Oh, really?
So this is actually one third of the student of department. Because of small room, many people come.
Yes.
So it's like a family. We get together every month to discuss about the different issues in Africa. And I came to know that our Excellency has some desire to be PhD scholar in this department. So today he came as a speaker. But in the days to come, I hope to see him as a family member of this department.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. With these few words, let me just hand over the time to Our Excellency. We start.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, the leadership of the university and the African Studies Department. And I graduated from the same college in Ethiopia, which Professor, Political Science Department of Political Science and International Relations in Addis Ababa. And we talk the same language, and it is not surprising to have me to talk about the relationship between India and Ethiopia. And when we talk about the relationship between India and Ethiopia, it's at the same time we're talking about the relationship between India and Africa. Because Ethiopia is one of the prominent countries in Africa. It's not because my country, but we are the ones who were not colonized, either by the British or the French or the Italians, who tried successively from mid-1980s up to the start of Second World War. We have been fighting colonialism, and they could not manage to have it. And people may ask why they can subjugate countries like China, India, and the whole continent of Africa, Latin America, everywhere, and these Europeans were colonizing. And why? What is the secret? Why Ethiopia is not colonized, while the whole world in the South was colonized? And I have got my own answer. And that is, Ethiopia is as ancient as India is. And I feel India shouldn't have been colonized also. You should have been fighting, and you could have won this war of colonization. But for some reasons it happened, I don't know. You are the one to, as social science scholars, you should be the one to respond to this. Why India is colonized, while it has the same history, the same culture, the same civilization like Ethiopia. And when colonialists come, they came in the pretext of civilizing us. That's what they said. No, 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 you don't have government, you don't have system, you don't have elections, you don't have institutions, you don't have the revenue, you don't have the ministries, so we have to teach you. And also, above all, you don't have religions, and we have to give you a religion, either Protestant or Anglican or Catholic, whatever, depending from the countries where they were coming. But in Ethiopia, we are the first in the world to receive Judaism 5,000 years ago. And we have those falashas, you remember, in the north. The falashas are Ethiopian Jews that came 4,000, 5,000 years ago from Jerusalem to Ethiopia through Cairo, through Egypt, through Sudan. And they were in northern Ethiopia. And also when Jesus was born, and 2,000 years back, it is only 7 years later that we came to know the birth of Jesus, and we have started our calendar, which today now is 2025, but in Ethiopia is 2017. Because those people from Jerusalem, through Cairo, through Khartoum, to reach Ethiopia, they should take 7 years. It is a desert, it is camel, it is by foot. So now, the same time when Jerusalem was starting this Christianity, 7 years later, Ethiopia, we started it. And also, when the Prophet Muhammad was teaching Islam, at the beginning when he was in Medina, before he went to Mecca, he came to Ethiopia. He sent his people to Ethiopia. And he told them there is a righteous king in Ethiopia, which you can get somehow some refuge. And when I call you, you will come back. And they came. That is when Ethiopia peacefully took Islam. Rather, it was through fighting and jihad that it was spread up to Europe and the whole North Africa and Asia. Islam came through jihad.
Yeah.
But in Ethiopia, before the Hijrah, they did a Hijrah to Ethiopia. And we received Islam. And willingly. And it started from the royal family itself. And he saw them praying. He saw them praying. He was a Christian. And he called them, what is this? No, this is the new religion that Muhammad was teaching us, and this and that. So it started from the palace itself. So the three religions, what I want to mean in what relationship with anti-colonial struggle is, okay, Ethiopians in all corners of the country, north, east, south, west, we had a book. And in that book, it could be Bible, it could be the Torah, or it could be the Talmud, or it could be the Quran. And when colonialists came to tell us, no, 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 you have to have a church, you have to have a mosque, you have to have a synagogue, and we told them, no, we have it 2,000 years back. We don't need yours. We have it. And they were talking of administration. Ethiopia has traditional administration system of this modern day. We used to have it 2,000, 3,000 years. Maybe Professor in the Sosa in Ethiopia, you may know that we have the Jazmach, we have Grazmach, we have Ras, we have all modern titles. We used to have a protocol chief, we used to have a spokesperson, we used to have a parliament, we used to have the judges, we have to have the district commissioners, we used to have the financial officers, traditionally. And that was long time ago, even Europe and America were not using it. And it is in the books you can read. So when Europe came to colonize Africa, like the other African countries, we had no reason to accept them. And we say, no, if you are talking about religion, we have it. If you are talking about the palace and the structure of government, we have it. If you are talking of any other culture and civilization, and we are civilized, we don't need yours. Which I say, India should have done the same. Because your religions here, the difference and the Hindu and the Taoism and this and that. It had already that civilization and belief before they came here. So they should have been told, no, 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 go back, we have it. And anyway, it happened. But Ethiopia, we could not find any reason to accept. The president of Kenya, the father of the nation, that is Jomo Kenyatta, the father of Uhuru Kenyatta. And Jomo Kenyatta, he fought the Mau Mau struggle to liberate Kenya. And then they got independence at Lancaster House, and he became president. He came back. And then he told them, look, the first day when he was speaking as president, look, now we have got our independence, but be careful. My people of Kenya, he said, be careful. Because these white men, they came with the Bible. They gave us the Bible and they told us to pray like this. But they were taking what is from the pocket and what is from the land. They have taken it. So don't always do this. See around. See around. So that is how he put it, They used that pretext to colonize us. And truly speaking, south of the Sahara, all African countries, they came to know this civilization, religion, and governance after the colonialism. But Ethiopia had it before. So there was no reason for us to accept them. This is why I said Ethiopia is a pioneer. And what was the contribution of it? The contribution of it is up to Fiji, up to Trinidad and Tobago and Cuba, and to India and to China, and the whole Africa. They see Ethiopia as a beacon of resistance. Now, if you see in Africa, 4 African countries, half of them, somehow their flag is taken from Ethiopia. The tricolor, green, yellow, you'll find it in different ways, either in Burkina Faso, in Ghana, or in these and that countries. And because we were the symbol of independence, so they took our flag and they changed a little bit of it and they adopted it. One. And secondly, when Ethiopia proposed that we have a contribution, we succeeded to have the African Organization of African Unity, to have it in Addis Ababa, and the first chair was Ethiopia. And we are now the headquarters. And they say, when Ethiopia proposed to have the Organization of African Unity, no African country could have opposed. Emperor Haile Selassie, they said yes. And Emperor Haile Selassie was a very good friend of Nehru. He visited here for 3 weeks. A king staying 3 weeks in another country is unthinkable. But he was very much in love. And you know where he fell in love most? It's called Kerala, which I'm going to visit. Kerala was where he was fallen in love with. So he stayed there for a long time, and he took some students with him. And I think also there are some Orthodox Christians. Yes. And they went there, and he deployed them in the church, in the academic institutions, and this and that. So that emperor was a very good friend also of Nehru. And that is why Ethiopia was the first country to open its embassy in India. In New Delhi, among African countries, Ethiopia came first, and that was 1947, 1948, right after independence. Since then, we have got our relationship. But even before that, for 2,000 years, Ethiopia and India, in front of Mumbai, the ocean, you just find East Africa, across the Arabian Sea. So as people, we used to get in touch. And currently, somebody brought me a book called Malik Ambar. Malik Ambar. He's an Ethiopian black, and somehow from some southern Oromia region. And he was sold as a slave by the Arabs he came to Saudi Arabia and Iran. From Iran, he came here. But he happened to be a good fighter. So one of the people here, Indian, they found him fighting very good with Mongols. This Mongolia that come from the north always to fight. So he came out a good general. And he succeeded to have a palace and a leadership and this and that. He came out through the system here. And this is in 14th, 15th century. So Ethiopia-India relations, you can find it through these books to confirm that our relationship dates back for like so many years, 2,000 years and 3,000 years. And in the world, if you talk of civilization, either it should be Mesopotamia, today Iran, Iraq, or it should be Turkey or India and China. And if you see East Africa, it should be Ethiopia and Egypt. In the Middle East, Sudan, somehow it comes, sometimes it goes away, but it is in the Nile civilization, it is Ethiopia and in Egypt. And here it is India and China. And if you come to the Middle East and the Arab world, it should be Iraq and Iran. That's all, Mesopotamia, and the southern Syria and the southern Turkey. So these are the world civilizations. This was the world at that time. The world was only this area. We don't have America, we don't have any other place. So our relationship goes that long. And I myself is a witness. Because in my high school times, I had 3 Indian teachers. One was biology, the other chemistry, and another one English. My high school elementary teachers were Indians, and eastern part. I am from Diredawa. Yeah, eastern part. So we grew up with the Indian teachers, all right? And then in the weekends, and the social aspect, we watch Indian movies. So when we have Mother India coming to our part, and the whole youth will come, because it is so famous. And we don't have even a space. And for 2 weeks, we have one Indian movie. 2 weeks, one Indian movie. And we were watching it. So culturally, through the movies, and the songs are very similar to Ethiopia. And the food is very similar to Ethiopia. And we never used fork and spoon to eat. We use our hands, like Indians. And also the food is also very spicy, very similar. And I don't think all this is by coincidence. Without knowing each other, it came. But it is because we learn it from one another. The way we eat, the way we grow, the way our culture. And also, Ethiopia is as diverse as India itself. Very diverse. And we can't be like India in terms of diversity in population, but south of the Sahara, Ethiopia is among the second populous nation next to Nigeria. So it's not easy. And not only that, India has got a reason to have good relationship with Ethiopia, because India in Asia is a pillar. Next door is China. So the world, as we are told and as we see, and I am confirming while serving in New Delhi, that the future of the world of tomorrow is India and China. You are coming out strong. And I was reading last week from The Economist, if you see, Europe has to learn, after Trump is in power, how to maneuver from Sri Modi. And it is coming. It's not simply, you can't lead in terms of diplomacy. And the European Union, they were here, the whole of them, the whole European Commission with the president were in India. So they were exchanging ideas and having a free trade market between Europe and Asia. So in this world of Trump, India is becoming a good example. And being a good example, you must be good at everything, at many things. You can't excel in one thing and become zero in the rest. And you have the intellectual capacity, you have the entrepreneurship, you have the ICT, you have the agriculture, you have the industry, you have the academic institutions. All this put together is the power of India. And you are doing in so many things good. That's why India is visible in the world today. And now the Trump administration, I think 2 of them are Indian origins. So it is not easy. It does not come that easy, and it cannot come by coincidence. It is because India is dynamic. It does contribute to the world in many things. And I always say, it's not only me who was taught by Indian teachers, but the whole world there any place in the world where there is no Indian teacher, Indian professor? Yeah, you have them all there. And the same way, India has to pay attention. It does pay attention to Ethiopia. If you see in the continent, the most visible country is Africa. In Africa is Ethiopia because of our background in anti-colonialism and also having the institutions early and long-established civilization there. So they see us in Ethiopia as a leader of the continent. And they always come twice a year for a summit in Ethiopia. So anybody who wants to do business, I'm telling Indian businessmen, come to Ethiopia, put your institutions and businesses there, so that you find the whole Africa in Addis Ababa, because it is the third most important diplomatic center after New York and Geneva is Addis Ababa, because we have also the UN Economic Commission for Africa is in Ethiopia. And now the Disease Control Center, what we call CDC, is just was inaugurated last week. This continental disease control center is in Ethiopia. So many institutions of Africa will come. So for India, making Ethiopia the center is very important, because when you talk to Ethiopia, you are talking to the continent. When you talk to Ethiopia, you are talking about the whole East Africa, because Ethiopia is